This is John Young with This Jockey News. We are at the Numark booth here at DJ Expo 2013, and we have got something that's very, very cool. We're looking at the Numark NS7II. This is an incredible board. I've been watching guys play on this yesterday. Some sweet, sweet stuff, and I've got Chris here from Numark who's going to walk us through this board. This is a tool gang, and it's really impressive. So Chris, take it away then. Show us what this can do.
Absolutely. So Johnny, this is the latest, and this is the latest and greatest, I mean truly is, of DJ controllers. It's the NS7 Mark II. It takes from a very successful controller that we came out with about 3 or 4 years ago called the NS7, where we had motorized platters, high torque motorized platters, real vinyl, real slip mats. You can adjust the tension the way you like. You can, if you are a turntablist, if you are a DJ with real mixing skills and things like that, you're going to find this to be the ultimate tool for doing your mixes. Full customizable adjustability on that. We introduced a strip search, very first function of that kind in a DJ controller on the original NS7. We've taken it here and we've added in, of course, the LED strip that we put on the NS6. So now you know the actual position that you are in the track. So this allows you to fast forward and move backwards to any position in the track. And as you can see up here on the screen, inside Serato, you can see that I'm moving the waveform across with that marker up there just by touching the touch strip. So that's the strip search. In addition to that, of course, we had a 2-channel mixer on the original NS7. We've upgraded this with a full-fledged 4-channel mixer with filters. So now it gives you a full set of complement of controls for everything you might want to do inside your DJ software or even outside, because there's external inputs for each one of these 4 channels. I got 4 line ins, I got my microphone input for the mixer section. I also have another microphone input on the front, so I got 2 microphones on this. So one mic is not interfering with anything you might be doing on the mix, and the other one's available to you and can be added to any channel as if you so choose. In addition to all that, of course, we had our 5 Hotkeys on the NS7. Well, we've upgraded it. We've basically put 8 Hotkeys now in here too. And by doing, and the way we did that is we took MPC pads. Of course, as many of you may know, Numark, Jockey, Alta Professional, we're all the same company, all the same group of engineers. And so we're able to pull from technology that we developed within our different brands and bring that into the other brands to benefit, you know, users as a whole. And of course, who wouldn't want MPC pads on their DJ controller, because it gives you a whole lot of control. If you like drumming your fingers or anything like that, you got any kind of rhythm whatsoever, there's no other. Once you touch this, you'll never go back to anything else. So see, I got a track sitting up here on the deck right now. Get that going. Now, if I don't like this view, it's really easy to change my view. Of course, I got a basic view button here which changes the things that I'm looking at for the add-ons, the extras and things like that you might want to use inside Serato. But I also can change my general view. So I'm looking at 2-deck view right now. It's a little easier to look at while all this is going on. So I'm going to clear out the cue points that are here right now, and I'm going to go and I'm going to set a cue point. So with the MPC pads, very, very responsive, very active. So one of the nice features that we've been able to accomplish by doing all this also is added some additional things that the pads can do. So inside the pad section itself, there's 10 different functions. And I'm going to go through these things one by one so you can understand what you're capable of doing with the NS7II. First thing, of course, is the cues. On the flip side of cues is the ability to do automated loops based upon those cue points. And if you can see up on the screen, I got a loop going. And by using my parameter buttons that are down here next to it, I can shorten the loop. All right, I can jump to the next cue point and have that loop. And release it just by hitting the pad again. Next set of functions over here is the automatic looping section. So for guys that are familiar with it, this is basically the brainless way of doing a loop. Basically, you press a button and it automatically does a loop. As long as your gridding's been done and everything else has been done correctly, you're going to see that going on. So I'm going to go set myself a loop. So each one of the buttons has a different loop length. Hit it again, releases it. On the flip side of your automatic looping, we added the rolls. So in this section, it's a temporary thing. So as long as I'm holding this button down, it'll go and do a loop. So that's your roll section. You have 8 pads specifically for that. The next section over allows you to set up loops. And we're going to change the view up here a little bit so we can actually see all your different things here. You can see the first 2 hotkeys that I set up there. I'm going to set up and save a loop right now. So I'm going to save a loop right now. In, out. Alright, so I've just set a loop and saved it right there. Now I've set another loop. We'll release that loop. And now I can go back and I can re-loop any one of these loops. I'll go back to the first one. Got that loop going, that's the first save loop. Gonna run over and play my second save loop. And there you go. So I can save loops. I can save up to 8 loops just by going across. The second side of this gives me the other 4 loops available to me. So I have 8 hot cues and 8 automatic loops that you can have preset. Next section I want to show off to you is a sampler. I'm going to change the view again. And if you see down here, we have a bunch of different samples set up right now. First side is sampler, just so basically plays it at full volume. Second side of the sampler allows me to do it with volume, because I have velocity sensitivity on these. So I'm able to play all my samples with my own sensitivity, just like you would if you were hitting a drum.
Very cool.
The last section, of course, is the slicer. Slicer being one of those features that Serato came out with a little while ago. That's very, very cool, and I think it's probably one of the more compelling features that's come out in software over the past few years. And what it does basically is, I'm going to move to it. Let me see. There we go. 4, 1, 2, 3. So you can see it's moving through. As it moves through the music itself, it also shows you on the pads that it's moving through as well. Now I can tighten it up, and by tightening it up, I'm able to basically capture smaller sections of the music. Now when I play my sample, so what it's doing is it's grabbing basically a snippet from each one of the sections. It's slicing up a couple measures of the music. I'm able to repeat a section of the music. Let's go back to the beginning track again. I can repeat different sections of the music at will. It's a really fun feature because the music keeps on moving forward. So you can do really, really cool things with these buttons. The second side of slicer basically locks a section of the music into a loop. So you can hear the loop going. And now basically I have these 8 beats of music that are now broken up here on each individual pad. Now any pad I play will play that beat. And that's the loop section, basically looping of the slicer section. So now that's really cool. And you can say, well, okay, so what's really new about this controller? Because yeah, obviously we've seen pads before. Of course, these are genuine MPC pads. There's a whole different feel to them, and until you've touched them. And of course, with the RGB LEDs, I should mention that as well. It's very clear what function you're working on. Like on the hot cues, it's red. On the automatic loops, it's blue. Looping section, it's yellow. On a sampler, it's a little pink and purple. And a slicer, of course, is red or it's blue, depending upon where you are inside the slicing function. We took from additional technology that we've created and added to the NS7II a very new feature. It's not on any other controller, and it's capacitive touch knobs. And basically what that means is if I go and touch the knob, if I do something with the knob, it's going to know I'm touching the knob without ever turning the knob. So I can get an instant response from what I'm doing. The first thing I'm going to show you is a pretty standard DJ function. Many people are familiar with it. Let me grab a different song. I'm going to grab a song over here. Get a little milkshake going. And so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to activate the kill frequency function on this channel. And all I have to do to activate that, now that touch is on, is just touch the knob. So I'm going to take out my mids. Mid's gone. High is gone. Bass is gone. Bass and mid's gone. All gone. all just by touching the knob itself. Doesn't matter where you touch it, if I just grab it, it's going to do a kill. So capacitive touch knobs. In addition to that, we have capacitive touch on the effects section. So let's see here, we can put an echo on here, and all I have to do, put my echo on, first of all to activate it, is I'm going to touch the knob, and you're going to see the on flashing up here on the display.
Yep.
So that means I'm touching it. If I let go, it's not active. Now you didn't hear anything simply because my parameter was set so low. Well, let me bring the parameter up. You can hear the echo going on right now. Now it's set to an 8-beat loop. Let me tighten it up. I did all that without touching the actual effects on and off. Now, of course, if I want to have it locked in place, I just go out of that and just hit the button. I can run 3 effects simultaneously, of course. I can change all my effects, so let's add a, we'll put the flanger on there to go along with it. There we go, I didn't hit the button, so that's it. Now we got all sorts of chaos going on, but there you go, that's an effects section. It gives you a whole lot of creativity. By adding the capacitive touch knobs, now when you touch it, it actually does something really cool. Now, like I said before, on the mixer section, we added in filters. Filters is something that you're going to find on any club mixer. And they're just a whole lot of fun. You hear it in all the music, any modern electronic dance music, you're always going to hear those filters. And all that is just gives you this, gives that kind of sound that just goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back, right? But what we've done is we expanded upon that. We added effects to all this. So the touch effects that are on here, the first one will add a little bit of a gate to it. And you can hear the sounds changing. When I let go of this knob, it's going to stop the gate but keep the filter. Alright, when I go back and touch it again, it's going to reactivate that gating effect and allow me to go and move. So let it go. Same thing going the other way. Very cool effect. And as you can see up on the screen, the more I move it to the right, the tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter that it gets. Let go, hit it again, let go, hit it again, so on and so forth. So the filter section has a lot of great control. Now there's also a third function on that filter. If I go and hit my shift plus my filter effects, it starts flashing. And now what it's going to do, if we keep an eye up here on the effects section, as I go and do my filter, basically what it's doing there is controlling the effect. All at the same time as I'm doing the filter. So that gives me additional controls. It's like a super knob because it's one knob. It does all these great, really cool things. This is a 4-channel controller, and so in order to control the 4 channels in this, we also took a slightly different step. We added 4 separate buttons. Those 4 separate buttons mean, you know, as you're working as a DJ, you're going to be reaching around. You want to basically control your equipment. You don't want your equipment controlling you necessarily. So when you have, whenever you can, you try and make it really easy to do those basic functions you want to do. And so what we've done here is we've added separate buttons. Say I want to go over and add a song to deck 4. I'll hit the 4. Up on a display 2 went away, so I'm in 2-deck mode right now. Of course, I can change it to 4-deck, but in 2-deck view, it's going to switch over here, and I can add another song over here to the 4th deck. And let me see here. Oh, geez, I haven't heard this song in years. So we'll play a little Debbie Gibson.
Turn around and shake that thing. Let me see you shake that thing. Turn around and shake that thing. Let me see you shake that thing. Turn around and shake that thing. Let me see you shake that thing.
So there you go. So I can control all 4 decks that I want to be able to do. I can run, like I said, I can run a microphone in any one of these channels. And so if I have songs going on 1, 2, and 4, I can bring the mic in on 3 and use it there. And that's the secondary mic, by the way. The primary mic on the front, again, is not affected by anything that's going on up here. This comes with a CP Pro crossfader, which is basically a carbon plastic, crossfader, which is a very, very, very high quality crossfader. It's the same crossfader we had in the NS7 and many of our scratch mixers over the year. It doesn't break, it's really solid, it feels perfect. For anybody who's a scratch guy, you'll recognize right away the quality that's going on there. In addition to that, we have all your crossfader curve adjustments that you'd expect, all the assignability of the crossfader that you'd expect, and of course all the control that you would expect. In addition, we've actually added, I should have mentioned this, we added slip mode to this, which slip mode basically means if I go up and set a loop, it'll jump ahead to where it would have been had you not done that loop or scratch or any of those other things that you might want to be able to do. You have full adjustability over your loops. I didn't show that, I should show that. Alright, that's a nice loop and all. I want to make it shorter. So I can fully adjust my loop. Need to do a nice effect with it. Or say that's how long I want the loop to be. And mark my point again. I can do the same thing with the beginning. So full control over your loops and everything else that you want to be able to do. On the NS7 II, we have a full complement of controls, full set of ins and outs. And by that, you have no limits to what you're really capable of doing with this unit. Of course, you have your power and your power switch over here. As we move across, you have an unbalanced master output, as well as your balanced XLR master output. You also have a booth output, which is of course what you're going to need for monitoring what's going on. As I move across over to the other side, you'll see the USB for plugging in your computer. And next to that, you're going to see 4 inputs, one for each one of the channels. Now those inputs can be turned to phono mode, so you can plug in turntables as well as CD players without any problem whatsoever. As we move further over here, you'll notice, of course, the Numark microphone input on the back, so you can plug in a balanced or unbalanced microphone to that. And then moving further across, you see the motor torque control. Like I said before, these are very powerful motors that are inside the NS7 II, and you have the option to downgrade that sensitivity of the platters to be more of the traditional Technics 1200 torque, which is a bit lower than some of the torque that we did on our later TTXs. So you have both platter options depending upon your style of mixing. So we give a whole lot of customizability, again, to the platters, and part of that control is with that torque setting that's on the back. Now on the front of the unit, let's take a look at that. On the front of the unit, we have a whole host of additional controls for your NS7 Mark II. We have, of course, your separate microphone input, which is a Numark input, allows for either balanced or unbalanced input into here. You have your gain, and you have an EQ control as well with bass and treble on it, and an on-off switch also for the microphone. Not all microphones have an on-off switch on them, or if you plug the wireless into this and somebody else is holding on to it, you want to be able to control them, so you can shut them off very quickly if you need to on the front. Moving on over here, you have your additional mixer controls. So like I said, we have a high quality crossfader in here with the CP Pro, and that crossfader is fully assignable, and it's basically the style of crossfading where you can actually assign more than one thing to one side. So I can assign both channels 1 and 3 to the left side of the crossfader, or 2 and 4 to the right side of the crossfader. Or if I'm a DJ and I like basically flipping my hamster switch, I can go and I can flip it back the other way, and of course reverse the direction of the crossfader from the way that I might be scratching. You have your crossfader adjustment here for your slope adjustments. You also have slope adjustment for your up faders. Now that's inside Serato. It's inside Serato DJ. This does come with the latest version of Serato DJ. It actually adds additional controls over any other controller out there with the software that comes with it. Moving further over to the right here, we also have controls for your headphones, of course. So you have your standard, you have your standard 1/4-inch jack as well as an 1/8-inch jack for your headphones, because so many headphones these days come with that little adapter, and if you lose that adapter or something else, with a lot of different controllers and mixers, you might be actually out of luck. So when you get to the gig, you don't have to worry about those issues either, because there's an 1/8-inch jack right there. Or of course, I like to train DJs every once in a while, so it's nice having that extra one sitting there as well. You have your volume adjust, you have your blend control, of course mixing between your cue and your program output, and of course something that's been standard on Numark mixers for the past 30 years has always been your split headphone output, and that's right there. So these are all the input controls and output controls on the front of the NS7 Mark II. This is the NS7 Mark II, available in October. It'll be available for a street price of $14.99, and you can actually pre-order yours now from your local dealer. So go ahead and do that. That way, when they come in the door, you'll be one of the first ones to get one of those. So this is NS7 II, available from Numark in October.